My brother, who is 20, voted to leave in the European Union. He's very strong in his views regarding kind of the European Union, and him and I clash extremely on that.
Post-Brexit, I feel like I've become more politically aware of the different views of people, and I've become far more interested in learning other people's views, so I try to formulate my own. And yeah, it's brought a lot of discussion with sort of adults and people my age, and yeah, on social media as well.
My dad, for example, we've from quite a few years now had different views on politics. So we've always sort of had that conversation. But maybe people like my grandparents, who I hadn't necessarily spoken too much about it before, it was nice to sort of get their input too.
The dinner table, my brother and my granddad used to have really heated debates. My brother was heavily for Remain and my granddad was heavily for Leave.
One of the things that really kind of confused me quite a bit was this argument that this isn't what we voted for in the 70s. We voted for an economic group, and that's fine. That's, you know, like, that's a fair enough, but that's, you know, things evolve over time, and I don't think that you should argue to leave the European Union on that basis.
Well, I definitely think our generation are becoming more liberal and open-minded, and there's becoming a stronger divide between how we feel about the world and how they feel about the world, because they've been brought up with quite old-fashioned values, and those values are very different to what we're now being brought up.
The whole campaign was like, there was not much truth in it, like about what was actually going to happen. There's much deeper implications, and I think a lot of people probably voted for it thinking about immigration, about old people, yeah, are going to get immigrants out and stuff.
From what I've experienced, and I can only speak for myself, I think it's been kind of different people from lots of different areas kind of clashing. I don't think it's necessarily a generational thing, although the figures may suggest that. In my personal opinion, in the way I've kind of experienced it, I don't think it's necessarily happened that way.
I remember my grandfather announced that he was going to be voting to leave while we were on holiday together, and I think I had a 3-day strop where I refused to talk to him. I just cried at him, said, "You're ruining my future, how am I going to study in Paris now? It's all your fault, blah, blah, blah." But I think in the end, my grandfather and I made up. I said, "It's your choice." And then in the end, it doesn't really matter, because there's always another way. If my future is changed by this vote, then so be it. Loads of futures get changed all the time. I've just got to be grateful that we had this democracy.
So looking at my grandparents, my grandmother voted to leave and my granddad voted to remain, and they both said the reasoning behind it was they thought it was the best thing for me. So I have had debates with my grandma on whether she is right or wrong to have voted this way, but I think they're both doing it for my benefit. They weren't doing it perhaps out of racist fueled ideology.
When I saw the 60 plus voting leave, I was a bit angry, but after that was just probably the whole Brexit being chucked on us, and we were a bit like, oh, okay, so I'm going to throw my anger on you. But I didn't, but I honestly was tempted to.
Not that I sort of love my grandparents any less or interact differently maybe with people who I know voted the other way from me, but it's not a thing that can be ignored. It's a divide now, which maybe isn't a good thing, but it's there.
With my parents, I had a massive talk about it because they completely expressed their frustration because they voted leave, obviously for the same reasons as like we say, because of the NHS funding. And yeah, we're really, really frustrated at how their votes, they've practically been wasted.
I feel like discussions about Brexit sort of helped me understand the older members of my family and my parents more, because I understand like their views and sort of take it on board as I sort of formulate my own. And especially with the older generation, I seem to agree with them a lot more than I agree with my own.
Politics, if I went to see a family member or a friend, I'd never be like, oh, I'll talk about politics with them. It'd just be like general stuff, but now it comes up so much more. And one member of my family was going to vote leave, and I was like talking to them about it for ages. I was like, oh, don't, like telling them why. when it came down to it, they voted Remain. And I sort of felt like, oh, maybe I did that, as in persuaded them a bit more.
I've had conversations about like Brexit and everything with like older people, like obviously my grandparents and my mum and dad, obviously they're older, so they are very pro like independence.
I haven't really been involved in any official kind of protest or petition signing or anything like that, but I think informally I have been having a lot of conversations about Brexit with my friends, my peers, teachers, about kind of how it will impact us and how it will impact the future.
I don't really know a lot of people who wanted to leave from my family, so I haven't really engaged in conversations with people from the other side.
I think for me a key issue is getting young people on the Brexit negotiation tables, talking with politicians how to go forward, because obviously this is our future.
You know, you hear things all the time, you're naive, you're idealistic, you're this, you're that, and that's something I find really upsetting and really quite offensive, because you know, I'm 19 and I'm dealing with what I see and from my beliefs from my perspective, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So not specifically to do with Brexit, but certainly I've been in debates about politics in general with older people who, rather than attack your argument, will attack your age and attack, you know, that kind of thing, and that's a sign of a poor debate. So yeah.